Welcome back to GBN Tonight with me, Christopher Hope. Now, in a sign of how these protests are being viewed abroad, Malaysia, Nigeria and Indonesia have warned their citizens about travelling in the UK in a similar way that our Foreign Office issues warning to Britons travelling to war-torn parts of the world. Joining me now is Mark Logan, a former Tory MP for Bolton North East, who is now a Labour member. And on my panel, GB News' senior political commentator Nigel Nelson and associate comment editor at the Daily Telegraph, Mutaz Ahmed. To you, if I may, Mark, is that even right that other countries are worried about their citizens coming here or moving around the country?
Well, I think it's not a good sign. Obviously, it's not good for brand Britain, for UK PLC. And, you know, my own thoughts on all this is, obviously, we have to be calling for calm immediately. I think the Prime Minister's done the right thing by calling out the thuggery that's been happening across the UK. But we really need to get back to a peaceful society right across the board.
We all hope for that, Mark.
Absolutely.
How's Bolton? Has that been affected by the Troubles?
Well, yeah, so yesterday I was watching very closely. Obviously, there was lots of TikTok live streams were happening. What I should say is, you know, Bolton, at the time I was a Member of Parliament in a very ethnically diverse constituency, indeed town, is a place of relative peace that people have been able to get on from different religious backgrounds. Yesterday, some of the scenes that I saw teetered on the brink a little bit. Now, we were fortunate in that we didn't have significant rioting or violence actually happening, but at points I was a little bit concerned when I was watching some of the imagery, and I think the police locally in Bolton, GMP, did a fantastic job.
Did they then? Are you worried about two-tier policing? Richard Tice earlier on, he is worried about two-tier policing.
No, I don't think so. I watched, I'd say, about 3 hours live TikTok streaming, and it was coming from the side which was, you know, referred to as the right wing or far right. And the other side was the counter-protest, as they referred to, and I do think that the police were able to keep it there in the centre of Bolton. They were able to keep the peace really well, and what's a very difficult circumstance. I know I was listening to your bulletin earlier on, was talking about how, you know, you're damned if you do it, you're damned if you don't. It's very difficult for the police, and I think we have to get behind our police at this really sensitive time.
The words far right you used there, is that the right way to describe people? I mean, Sir Keir Starmer's doubled down on that today, hasn't he, by saying that there's people who violently target those on the basis of the colour of their skin or their faith.
Well, I think actually, Chris, is that what we really need to be looking at here is being opposed to any violence whatsoever. And that doesn't matter.
We all are, Mark.
That doesn't matter about the pigmentation of your skin. It doesn't matter about what colour, what creed that you come from. I think we have to have, obviously, a one-size-fits-all when it comes to stamping down on violence.
Is that right, though? I mean, of course, we want to crack down on violence, no question, but by saying that attacking people who are concerned about these areas as far right undermines that message and concerns people who are worried about immigration.
Well, I think, you know, looking at that latter part of the equation there in terms of what people may have, that's a long-term issue, right? And when it comes to immigration, I do think, you know, personally speaking, although my own personal preference is always open to immigration, is to have controlled immigration, because I think it's good for the UK. But on average, I do think that, you know, amongst my constituents previously and across the UK, is that people want to slow down the rate of immigration. We need more time so that we can make sure that there's cohesion across society. So I do think we should listen in the long term. Obviously, we're not going to be negotiating in the short term with people who have been violent, who have been rioting, who've been attacking hotels. That's not going to happen.
But it needs to be longer term.
In the long term, that has to go into the thinking, absolutely.